Hi, good evening. Jeffrey Lynn, Beagley Macrodell Lynn, 2255 Glades Road, representing the Villa Verde Homeowners Association, who is generally in support and favor of this concept. Who doesn't want smart and good planning in your neighborhood? But for those of you who don't know me, my core competency is a zoning attorney. I actually cut my teeth as a zoning attorney working here. And during that time that I worked here was when we annexed the mall and this whole area, this entire area that we're talking about. And at the time, the city was focused on the downtown because the downtown was blighted. Eric, we used to have these conversations. It was blight. We created a CRA. We had to scrape it down to the foundation, start over. And the architect of that, to some degree, was Charlie Seaman and Wendy Larson. And Wendy's sitting here today, and we appreciate all their efforts. That was a yeoman's job to do that in the downtown. And in the northwest sector, where you have these big footprint of buildings, LARP, that's when probably the last time you saw me. You had these big footprint buildings. What are we going to do with that? And we had a hand. They had a hand in that. So Bonnie Miskell's in the audience. She had a hand in that too. But we're talking about something different here. We're talking about the built environment and how we're going to integrate these beautiful pictures into the built environment and distill them down to words. Because I hate to be glib, but if a picture's worth 1,000 words, it's a lot of words you got to write to get it right. And I'll tell you where we didn't get it right. When we annexed these properties in 2003, what we got right through the agreement that says that mall area, we're going to, at the time right now, consistent with state statute, is we're going to adopt the county code that's currently applicable. You're annexed in 2003. What was applicable at the time? The 2002 county code, which was previously amended in 1995. So you have a 1995 code tweaked in 2002. In 2003, we're going to continue to exist under that code. I worked for the city at the time, and that was as a zoning attorney, not even representing someone. That's what you do. We're now 15 years later talking about a 20-year-old code. And we're talking about dwelling units and residences and people and trains. Let's put all that aside for a second, because what happened here last night in this chamber was that 5 council members voted 5-0 to say enough of the county code controlling our city. There was a time and place for that. Okay, not anymore. We need to draft a Boca zoning code for Central Boca. And it doesn't mean being lazy and being sloppy and having a little line that says, well, we'll just refer to the 2002 code. Why not the 2017 code? Why not a Boca code? That's what we're asking for. And while we keep talking about interconnectivity, and while I appreciate Angelo, who's reached out to us, and Mike Marshall, who's reached out to us only as of late, a couple of months ago when this was before you and we got a notice this was happening, my client's problems were what was concluded last night, which was Blue Martini deciding that this city's a little entertainment district and is going to be playing blaring music till 5 a.m. and selling alcohol, which I enjoyed, drinking and partying too. But the residents till 5 a.m. were crying literally. They could not sleep, and they would speak with Mr. Brown and code enforcement, Mr. Shad, and the mayor and the council members. I mean, it was a big deal. It wasn't a NIMBY issue. They were more than happy to have these uses, Nippers, Blue Martini, the mall. They bought their houses by these uses. They're not stupid. They know what they bought. But you have to make it compatible and consistent with the built environment. This isn't downtown where you can wipe it down to the slate again. This isn't the Northwest where no one lives there. This is a built environment where people live, and we have established communities. And so they welcome and are excited about all these great things from, Trademark and Cypress and Crocker. Great, bring it. But darn it, make sure it works. Because if it doesn't work, you are going to crush probably what most people think who don't know, what downtown Boca Raton is. You come off Glades Road, FAU, and the mall. I would probably venture to guess at least 50% of the people who come to our city don't go downtown. We go downtown. They go to the mall or they go to FAU. So Glades Road for them, like Larry said, that's that crunch point, which, by the way, how long did it take us to get money to even get road improvement for FAU? How long did that take? So I'm not even talking about roads. I'm not talking about traffic. We're not talking about any of that. We're not even talking people. We're talking about drafting a zoning code that delineates permitted uses, conditional uses, prohibited uses, not pictures. Pictures are great. Now, draft it into words. And they've had multiple opportunities to do that. And for whatever reason, I'm not here to belittle or begrudge. They haven't done it. So the person who got up and said, I want to live there, that's great. We want you to live there. That's awesome. But the way the code's written right now is uninterpretable. And I brought this up to show you.
Mr. Lynn, let's wrap it up.
I'm wrapping up right now.
Okay.
Mr. Fairman, this is the current 2002 county code, double-sided, 1,300 pages. Is anyone in the audience, can you cite to any section of it, know how it works, know how it's incorporated? I looked at it myself. There's inconsistent provisions standing right now, which is how Blue Martini was allowed to exist as long as it did and finally took an ordinance of the city to go, oops, we made a mistake. There can't be any more mistakes because this is too important of a project and too important part of our city to make a mistake. So we welcome these developers. Great. The pictures I saw are awesome. But they have to be drafted in a zoning code. So I'm asking you, Mr. Chair, and the members of the board to hold these people, and we want to work with them hand in hand. We want to stand next to them one day and say, we drafted a zoning code that Boca can be proud of. We didn't draft a zoning code to get residential units, and by the way, go dig in this somewhere. Go find it, which, by the way, was just relatively recently put on the city's website.
Thank you, Mr. Lynn.
Thank you.
Next.
John Ren.